whenever we're upset with each other, you don't yell, and you don't say anything that you can't take back. And the opposing idea on the other side was like, well, when I'm upset, like I have the right to express how I want to express. And, like I'm upset. Like that's me. That's just how I do it. I'm like, okay. Well, yeah, but if you say something crazy or you call me something out my name, you can't come back. And like I will never forget that. No matter like how many apologies happen, like that'll never be out of my mind.
This is Sad Boy Radio.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sad Boy Radio. I'm your host, Matt, and today, man, we got a special guest here. It's been a minute. It's been a while coming. We did the little live a while back. We just went through it back in July, damn near a year ago. Often you work with the John Walt Foundation. You've been recording music since you were 14, and your most recent EP, Sincerely, dropped back in February. Correct. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, yeah, point.
Man, introduce yourself, bro.
I'm the third rapper, teacher from the South Side of Chicago. Um, I do a lot of stuff. I'm moving around. Try to stay involved in the community. All the people who gave to me, I'm trying to give back in a way, which is what I do with the foundation. Um, teaching, and I'm a rapper and I teach on the side. Is what I like to say.
All right, hold on. So, how did you get involved with the John Walt Foundation to begin with?
A shout out to Anna. Anna sent me the application for the John Walt Foundation. So every year we give a scholarship to young people who are looking to excel in their craft, um, and help them figure out what they want to do in their field. And so we provide funding, we provide workshops and mentors and seminars for them to kind of like grow in that. She sent me the application to fill out, so I filled some stuff out. I sent some of my past work, and then I got word back, and I went and had did the interview and it went great, and I ended up being one of I want to say five, one of 4 or 5 Chicago, I'm sorry, recipients of the John Walt Foundation scholarship, and from there, I mean, like I was able to put out my next, I think my second EP, which I did not prior to have the funds to like do. So they funded one of my very early projects, which I'm super grateful for. That's the project with Tracy Ellis Ross on it and B Water and all them, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's director's cut.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They funded director's cut. And so like being able to like have that support and that gratefulness, I was like, I need to figure out how not to only see this through and like, they help me figure out how to like budget the project. You know what I'm saying? Because we give the grant, we give the scholarship out in parts. And so I kind of like learn how to like work with what I got in a certain amount of time. Um, Funded the full project. And then like I was like, yo, I'm so grateful. I got to figure out how to not only work with this momentum that I got, but also how to give back. And so like I turned right around, and by the start of 2020, I was on a board. So I'm helping doing event coordination, reviewing applications, like anything I can just be of service with in the foundation. Just cause like I said in the beginning, like when I get something good and like I can use it for something, like I feel like people owe it to the world or the community that they exist in to like find a way to use that to give it back.
You're on the board now?
Yeah. I be forgetting that sometimes. Like when you're younger, I'm like a board member of. You like, oh yeah, you're so uppity. But like, now I'm like a board member.
Then you become a board member and you're like, oh, was it? I don't want to downplay whatever you had to go through to get there, but you become a board member and you're like, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be.
No, not at all. Not at all. Just just desire and a little bit of resourcefulness. You know what I mean?
So what was it about director's cut that signified a change in your life?
I think director's cut is when I started making music. I think director's cut is when I first started getting good at like songwriting and creation. Um, I'm a rapper. I'm a really good rapper. I'm also a rapper's rapper. Like I can give you 1,000 verses in a day. It takes nothing for me to give a verse. But like a hook and like, what I'm saying, like a bridge and all those things that come, the elements of like a song were like hard for me. You know what I mean? And so like I had to figure out how to kind of break out of that because I want to drop albums. I want to drop full length projects where people are gonna expect and want some type of like diversity in my discography. So I'm like, I gotta learn how to make a song. It was also quarantine had just started. And I've been writing every day since I was like 11 years old. Every single day I write at least a verse or a poem or something like that. I'm always writing every day. And quarantine was the first time I went like a good 2.5, 3 months without being able to write a single thing. Like nothing's like stuck.
Why do you feel that was?
I think I was going through something that had never happened before, or at least not happened for like a long, long time. Like that was like a first for everybody alive, I want to say. You know what I mean? Like that, what was going on in the world in the shit in the pandemic, like there was so much happening around me. And then also that was in the midst of we were in the midst of a weird like series of events where we had a lot of like black girls going missing, and like what I'm saying, that like the police brutality had gone up. It was just a lot of things happen at once where I was just like, I would write something and try to like communicate what I'm going through and how I'm feeling, and and I like it, I deleted it, and it was like nothing was like sticking for me, and that happened for like a good 2.5 months. And so, my first break out of that moment was a song called Be Water. Um, and at that time, I usually hate when people like are super secretive about who they're inspired by or who like, inspired them to do something. Everybody's inspired by something. I've been listening to an egregious amount of Smino at that time. I don't know what was going on, but I was listening to a lot of it. And I wrote this song called Be Water. And it was just about like, ironically but unironically, it was like kind of about breaking through challenges and the idea of like the Bruce Lee like pathology about being water and like finding a way around your obstacles and everything. And that kind of started the project off. So I was like, cool, this is what it's gonna be. We're gonna build around this.
So taking it back to the John Walt Foundation, right? They helped you fund this project, but you mentioned that you continue to pay the work forward, right? Originally, you started off being the mentee, now you're the mentor. Why do you feel like it was so important for you to carry this legacy?
Growing up, my dad was a poet. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of his friends that he, wrote with and did shows with were poets and authors, some of the best in the city now. And growing up around that generation, a lot of my elders were super involved in like working together. They're involved with each other and each other's work. Whenever I get a chance to like be blessed with something, an opportunity or a platform, I'm always kind of thinking about like how I can give back. Even more so, I joined my first basketball team in like third grade. I'm playing basketball since third grade. Track since fourth grade. I'm a team player for real. Like, and that I feel like everybody should play a team sport. That's something I don't get to say often, but I talk to my friends and but I feel like everybody should play a team sport. Team sports give you so many life like valuable lessons. And if you know what I'm saying, you get a bucket, like that's because somebody passed you that ball. You know what I mean? Like, and you have to like remember that you are not just a individual, you are one of five. You know what I mean? And you got to make sure you pass that ball around. And so whenever I get a chance to like help out in any way, like that's what I'm supposed to do. Um, Way too often I've seen people like get blessed with something and then like hold it and then lose it. You know what I mean? I feel like, and it's personally just because I believe in God, I feel like that was like a consequence of like, yeah, I gave you this thing, I blessed you with this, and now you're being selfish. And now because you want to be selfish, you can't have it at all. So it's like if I'm not sharing with my wealth of whatever, like what I got it for.
And to that point, right, there's a lot of times, especially in this industry, where people are given opportunities by other people and you never do something for somebody because you look for it in return because you can't expect yourself from others. But the fact that if I needed you the way that you needed me at one point and I looked towards you for the help and you looked the other way, it really just shows like how everything has played out. And especially in this industry, that's kind of like the norm. And that's what we allow ourselves to become accustomed to, right? Which is terrible because it shouldn't be that way. We should look out for one another. And I have a lot of like conflicting ideologies because there's also the point where like you know how people be saying Chicago's a gatekeeping ass city?
Oh, brother. Oh, brother.
But somebody said that it's not that Chicago is a gatekeeping ass city. It's the fact that like you say people don't want to work, but they just don't want to work with you.
Mhm.
If you are not being allowed to work with certain people or certain people don't want to work with you, that just means work harder and get better at your craft. Because a lot of these people that are saying that are people that literally just started yesterday and are DMing Chance the Rapper saying, let's work. That's not how this shit works.
I have people that I DM'd in 2018. Now I hadn't just started rapping, but I had just started rapping as a career. 2017 is when I decided I'm gonna do this as a career. Like this is what and so I DM some of my like best homies right now in like the rap field. And they were like,
Hey, put them
yeah,
on
bro,
blast. Put them on blast, bro.
y'all got the DMs. It's okay. You know what I mean? I'm not too mad at it. But like they'd be like, oh yeah, one day, bro, one day, one day, one day. I've been hit with so many one days. One of them, we actually just locked in a feature 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. I said, you know what? Maybe I was trash. Maybe I just wasn't good enough. But that one day was that day. And I was like, all right, bet. And it happens the way it's supposed to happen. I can't get mad at it. But that whole Chicago is a very individualistically backspace. Chicago has a very strong individual like listic mindset where it's just like everybody's focused on, as they should be, everybody's focused on their path. But people are so focused on their path that they don't even like support or look into other people's path and what they got going on. Man, I've spent hundreds of dollars on tickets to go see some of my peers and my friends that haven't been to not one of my shows to this day. And there's absolutely nothing about being like, hey, like I, did this for you, da da da. I came to your shows, like come to one of my shows. That's gonna make it any better. You know what I mean? There's clearly something happening. And so just like there was a time where I was getting that one day I'll get you a feature, and then it happened. There's a growth, there's a timeline to it all. And I don't like it. I think I was just actually talking to somebody and telling them like there's a new line of I call them lines, not really generations, because we're all mostly like in the same age range ish, but there's a new line of rappers, of artists that are working together a lot. Like a lot. Like everything they do, they're finding ways to loop each other in. I was just at a promontory event. Bro, the lineup had like 14 artists on it. And then each and 10, 11 artists had at least one or two songs in their set with a feature with other artists in it. And it was like, it, as much as there was going on, I got to see everybody's like chemistry in the same, like on the same stage and then working together. I was like, gee, I wish we were like this. Like my line of artists is not like that.
Who would you say is in your line of artists?
So it's interesting. So my line of artists would be, it's difficult because I'm not even sure if I include people who I'm in an age range with or people that I like came up with. So I would say Kari, since we're talking about, I would say Kari. I would say Samira Truth. I would say Asar. I would say Linda So. Remember Linda So, Jay Wood. These are people that like when I was coming up, when I was like going to U Media or when I was going to like open mics like early, I was seeing these people in the room. And now like we are all doing like different things. But yeah, those are like, to name a few, my line of artists. But we don't work together that often.
So what do you think it is that's stopping you guys?
I think we're all kind of caught up in our track. Like I said, rightfully so. But I think there's a certain point where, you go, oh, you wanna like get somewhere and get somewhere quickly and get somewhere with growth and effectiveness. You do it together. Um, and we don't just do that often enough. I can't really say what it is. I would say it's an ego thing, but like over the years, I've gotten to know a few of these people, and they don't really have like an ego that's like, oh no, I don't need to work with them because I'm this person. It's not really that. I think people just don't look up enough. You know what I mean? And that's something that we can fix. It's not a like an irreparable situation.
What you said right there, the fact that people don't look up enough. We're not looking for who's around us all the time and looking to uplift one another. What we're doing is we're trying to make sure that what we're doing is the best that it could possibly be. And not really is it an ego thing, but it can be a competitive thing where I want to be the best at what I'm doing because why would I be doing it anyways if I wasn't trying to be the best, right? And I remember, I think it was like a year ago. I don't know. There be jokes where people are like, "Oh, Matt got beef with so and so," and I'm like, "There's no beef. There's no beef. It's literally just I. If you do the same thing that I'm doing, why would I not want to outperform you? That would make no sense. If I'm trying to be worse than you, why would I do what I'm doing?
Did you play team sports when you were a kid?
I mean, I played soccer, but I mean that's just my mentality, right? And it's not like I'm not willing to work, but at the same time, it's like, all right, well, if you're gonna be doing this, I got to be doing this 10 times better.
I like that type of competitiveness is has to take place for growth to happen. But when you're so caught up in like I'm gonna do better than this person that you realize this is a peer and not an opponent, it's like, oh dang, like this person is doing the same thing I'm doing, and we're in the same city, which means that we have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, if people always point out to Atlanta, like Atlanta, everybody grinding over there too, but they collaborate. You know what I'm saying, on the grind, and that's I feel like that's instrumental. And like people talking about, oh, Chicago will come up, Chicago's gonna come up. Yeah, if we work together, Chicago rarely ever comes up from one person.
So taking it back to the John Walt Foundation and your mentors, right? Because these are people that you've worked closely. You good? These are people you've worked closely with. These are people that have been there and actually helped you develop. In what ways has working with the foundation helped you become a better artist?
They've definitely helped me kind of see how much there is to be done. I think that working with so many different individuals, I even start here. Like when we select the apprentices for the scholarship, we also provide them, in addition to funding, we provide them with a mentor. So this is a person who is on the like not the professional side, but who's professionally done what they're doing. So if we end up selecting somebody who's a videographer, we'll find a professional videographer that to work with them. Uh, if we have somebody who is into like I don't know, like podcasting and like working on like video series, like I'll probably hit you up and like have you know what I'm saying. So my mentor was Saba, and so having that be a there's so many parts of that. There's so many parts of that that I don't like speak about, but there there was a part where already just being privy of his work and like what he does and how he creates, um, being able to like have conversation with him and talk to him. I remember he told me about producing. And like I'm such a rapper, I've barely thought about like making beats. I have friends who make beats, send me beats, and I'll rap on them. Like that's really it. And I think there was a certain point where I like write every day, so I'm writing more than I'm getting beats. And so I'm like, dang, what am I gonna do with this? And he mentioned like producing, and he was like kind of just sharing some stuff that he like made, and I was like, I think I could do this. I think I could do this. And so I like asked him some questions. Then I went on eBay and found like a NPC touch for like way more than I should have should first time touching a piece of machinery, like you should not pay that much for it. You should start with something way smaller. But I paid like somewhere close to like $780 for this NPC, and I bought it, and I was just waiting for it to arrive. And we would do like check-ins and stuff like that. And then one day I was on my way to the crib. He called me. He was like, "Yo, did your NPC like get there yet?" And I was like, "Nah." And I walked through the door and I seen a box on the stairs, and I was like, "1 second." So I put it in my pocket. I went upstairs and I like unboxed the joint, and like literally from like taking it out the box to like set up, he helped me like set everything up and like taught me what different stuff does and like gave me advice um on stuff. And then like Day sent me some loops and everything. Like it's just been a very like all around type of support. Um where like I don't know, it just kind of made me a better like artist as far as thinking about more outside of the music. Just what does my brand look like? What I want it to say when I'm not in the room. Um and then working with Nichelle, I think the most important part of this is like I'm able to have an eye and an ear to the floor when it comes to the artists come after me. Um, and so when I'm getting to see, part of my job is literally paying attention to the Karis, right? The Kari, I hope I'm saying his name right so bad. The Kari, the Fidels, the Youngins, uh the Inamas, the you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many different artists that are like coming up now who are just like doing great things and have a desire and a need for this type of support that I got in order to grow in their art and their film, in their industry. So um yeah, kind of just made me a better like brand, I think.
Not only a better brand, but a better mentor yourself, right? Because having somebody, at what point was this, Saba? Like, what year was it?
2019. I'm gonna say end of 2018, 2019. I caught Tour Saba. That's what I got.
You got Tour
I got
Saba?
Tour Saba. I got Tour Saba fresh off one of the greatest Chicago albums of all time. So yeah.
So the fact that you had an artist who had essentially made it out of Chicago at that point
hmm just made it up.
continue to check in with you and continue to help you develop as an artist and develop as a person and take that time to set up a whole device that he wasn't even there for, right? That's something that not a lot of people get. And like you said, being able to pay that forward shows that not only are you taking it serious, but you're taking your role as an educator and as a mentor seriously.
Bro was still setting up his own. He was still setting up his own crib. Like he was still like putting up furniture and setting up his own studio at his crib at like around this time. If I remember correctly. And that type of stuff, that type of like selflessness, it was all of a 30 minute call, 20 30 minutes that just like I got this because I got that type of help. I need to help somebody with it. If he can get 20 30 minutes, I might be a little less busy than Saba. You know what I'm saying? So I can give a little more time to somebody else. Shoot, even before that, but when I dropped my first project, this is like my first pieces of music that I put in this project called Cursive. And I was trying to send it out to people to figure out what they thought about it because I was coming out with my first project. Everything from like the songs I chose to the order they were in to the cover, all of that. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to come out with a project, with an album. I mean, my first project was gonna be an album. I don't know what I was thinking. And I sent it to Fem. This is like end of 20, I want to say this is like 2018.
So Camry.
I want to say before Camry, 2018. Might have been Della Creme. This might have been Della Creme Fem. And I was sending songs. We were talking through Twitter at the time because we weren't like cool like that. And I would send a song, and he would then like literally make a video. He set up his camera, make a video of him playing a song, stopping it, and give me advice like all throughout. He did this for like 5 different songs on a project. And I think I might still have those videos, but like he like was reviewing and critiquing the music as far as like whether I should go back and re-record it, what I should do. He like did it himself. Um, the order of the songs, like all of that, helped me out with that, with the cover, um, and just gave me advice on it. And that was probably the start of my like, oh, I need to go do this for somebody. Not at the time because I ain't, I was still working on my own stuff, but like that inspired me to be helpful to somebody else. Um, I think I've always just being like the eldest sibling and all that. I've always had like a giving spirit. I always had like a spirit of service. But specifically in like the music industry, like getting that type of help, I was like, okay, cool. Let's figure out how we can help other people. And the feeling I got just getting that type of like, he set his phone up and was just like, hey, so press play, listen to the song, pause. All right, so here's what I think you should da. Like, hey, I can do that for somebody. That's not hard at all. It didn't take nothing. Oh, I don't know what it took. I don't know how busy he was, but like it don't take nothing to do that for somebody. And I was like, any type of like instrument or a vessel I can use to like do that for somebody else, like I'll do that.
Hey, shout out Fem for real.
Facts.
Fem's a real one. Outside of Saba, another notable mentor that you've had is your dad. You know, being a spoken word poet, how did he help you establish your love for spoken word?
I think since I was like in the single digits, my dad would bring me to his shows and to open mics he would go to. Um, and I'd be sitting like right there in the front row. He'd have like his like laptop or the book he wrote, you know what I mean? Like, and he'd be reading some stuff. And I would just first of all, the man's talent with language is he's a science teacher.
What are you, an English teacher?
Yeah, well, I'm a math teacher now, but yeah, the first 5 years I've been an English teacher.
How the hell? What? Go on.
Yeah, I don't. It was new school, new. You know what I'm saying?
Go on.
But he just got like he has a talent with words, and so just being able to watch him kind of use language and use English to like communicate and express himself and tell stories, um, and you know, man's a walking proverb for real. Him and his dad, like they just you just be casually talking and he just drop a bar and he'd be like, I'm gonna use that. I'm not gonna lie to you. But like he has and so like even being young and just watching him like, I don't know, just the way the crowd would interact with him and just like react to him, I'm like, yo, that's fire. Like, and even after the event, like being young and watching everybody come up to him being like, hey, like I really enjoyed your stuff, da da da. Can you come perform here? Can you da da da? And I'd be like, it's a cool dude. I mean, he's just my dad, you know? But like clearly he's something great to these people who don't even know him like I know him. And so uh that was always really cool. I think even that was just into writing, even into like performing. Um he's a great writer, not a huge performer, but my mom was an actress. So like she got me into like the theatrics of wanting to be a performer, and acting and the like the theatrics of it all. And that's when I got into like my stage presence, a lot of how I connect with my audience, and even how I like connect off stage sometime is like from her.
What kind of household were your parents running, bro?
Bro, I really couldn't even tell you for real.
Was it your mom a teacher too?
Yeah, mom's a teacher. Yeah.
I see where you get it from, bro. So a bar that your dad had was, I got a hole in my lip and my soul pours out.
Where'd you get that from? That's first of all, that's very correct. But also, you did some.
What was it this represented for you?
First of all, that's one of my like favorite lines that my dad has. And I can't remember the name of the poem, but it kind of that bar kind of carries throughout the poem. And I think when I was young and hearing it, it was like it sounded good. It just something like sonically, it just worked for me. And then as I got older and I would hear it again or I would read it, I was kind of like, oh, there's a like a truth that carries in my work too. Um and I like it. Like I like the type of like those parts, those lines that sound good, but also like have a weight to them that means something. And that was probably one of his most like popular pieces. Every time I saw him perform, that piece was like in high demand. And so it kind of just meant everything to me because it was like that's my dad. Like that is that poem and my dad are like are one for real. I don't know what my piece of work is for that today, but like those are two things that like I equate with him.
But what was your interpretation of it?
When I got older, it kind of carried into like I have I have things to say. I have so much for me, so much on my mind. I have so many things I have to say that sometimes it just like comes out. Like I have there's very little filter. Like I just have no control over like how it comes out, but it has to. All right. And so um I have like a burden, I feel like, to give the type of like knowledge and the type of like wisdom that I've been given by my elders. And so I put that into my raps. And a lot of like the smart and like clever, wise things I say on or off like wax. Cause I grew up around a lot of old people. You know what I'm saying? Growing up in church, going around my elders and like growing up around authors. Like you catch stuff. And so now I'm like, dang, I have these feelings, these like thoughts that I have that are so heavy that they just like kind of pour out of me. Like I don't too much have to think about what I'm about to rap about.
Do you feel like your interpretation of this differs from what your dad intended it to mean?
It's possible. I don't know if we've ever like sat and talked about what it meant to him when he wrote it. But I think at its center, it's the same thing that we have. When it comes to like my soul pouring out, these are my feelings, these are my thoughts. This is like who I am comes out when I speak. And you'll get the best sense of who I am. Really, I believe who a person is by what they say, what comes out of their mouth. We just happen to have so much to say that it's like it just pours out. Like, and it's just kind of like who I am in verse, on wax, off wax. I think our central like idea is the same.
So how important was it for you to have parents that were so supportive of self-expression?
I think it was super integral. I think the difference between uh the 14-year-olds who wanted to rap and me being a 14-year-old who wanted to rap was our parents. I think I not I think I I think so highly of my parents. Like they're great people. Like great people. And not just because of my parents. Like I say this to my homegirl all the time. Like if I met these people like at church and they weren't my parents or I met them like somewhere else, I'd want to be around them. That's the type of people they are to me. And so to like have a desire that was happened to be birthed by one of them, right? To be encouraged by one of them because they did it. And then them being like, yeah, go do that. Like that meant that was like all the approval I needed. Like if I had 0 streams today, I'd be like, actually it's 2 because it's my mom and my dad. They have separate Spotify accounts. You know what I mean? Like that's all I need was like their say so, their go. I've had a lot of decisions I've made in life where they were like, no, I should not do that. And I was like, even if I did it anyway, I always felt weird about it. Like, dang, I'm doing this anyway, but I know my folks are not happy about this. So I probably won't bring it up and I'll probably stop, like sometime soon. And I would hate to have had that idea or that mindset when I started writing because I'm doing great now.
So what do you feel like it was that you needed to express in your music that you couldn't do in any other medium?
I like the idea of being understood. I really like the idea of me saying something and you know exactly what I mean because that's what I said. Tell my people this all the time. If I didn't say it, that's not what I mean.
So then where did misunderstood come from?
At that time, I had been having a lot of conversations with like friends, and I had a conversation with a partner at the time where like I was not, I wasn't being felt. There's a lot of ideologies and a lot of like things that I kind of like held and acted on that they just didn't really weren't rocking with me with. And I realized I have a different set of like ideals and ideologies because I grew up in church. And
But like what? What is that?
I think this might have been when it first started. I was having a conversation with with a partner at the time, and we were having a conversation. We had just like gotten to it about something, and I was like, okay, here's the thing though. Whenever we're upset with each other, you don't yell, and you don't say anything that you can't take back. And the opposing idea on the other side was like, well, when I'm upset, like I have the right to express how I want to express, and like I'm upset, like that's me. That's just how I do it. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, but if you say something crazy or you call me something out my name, you can't come back, and like I will never forget that. No matter like how many apologies happen, like that'll never be out of my mind. Now we have to like work from there, as opposed to like tempering it at the moment, and what I'm saying, I'm moderating it at the moment, and like what I'm saying, and she just wasn't feeling that. It's like when I feel what I'm feeling, like I'm gonna feel all of it, and I'm gonna say whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, gee,
And the thing that people don't understand about that is the way that even if you want to let it go, it's hard to let go of those situations. It's hard to let go of the way that somebody made you feel and the way that they made you sort of look at yourself differently in that sense.
no, for sure. And on the other side of it, like I have to moderate myself. I have to be the cool one. You know what I'm saying? Because if I tweak out, right? Especially understand everybody has to understand their like role, right? So if we're talking between me and her, right? I can be upset, but I can't express my being upset or being angry, right? I'm a male. I'm a black male. I'm a 6'4" black male, probably twice her weight, three times as strong. I can't really be as I can get louder. You know what I mean? Like nothing I do in expressing my anger in that moment for what as right as I would be for being angry, um, is anything I can take back. I'll do way more damage than anything. Right. And I'm not even talking about anything wild. Like I'm not talking about calling nobody out their name. I'm not talking about touching nobody. I'm talking about just like even raising my voice and being expressive. You talk to any of my friends I've ever had, they've never seen me talk higher than this, like where I'm talking right now, ever. Um, but understanding, and this is something I got from my dad too, just understanding that like, you know, what I mean? That like my dad, like 6'3", 6'4", like 300. You know what I mean? My dad's a big guy. Like he's always taught me since I was young, like you can't trip because something bad is going to happen to you. No matter how like right you are for tripping, like it's never gonna go your way. And so when I was telling like, hey, G, like I can't trip. And I'm not saying like you can't trip because I can't trip, but I'm being careful about how I express my being angry in consideration of you. And it wasn't feeling me. It just wasn't feeling me. He's like, no, that's cool for you. But like for me, and I was just like, I don't feel like I'm being understood here. And then for some reason, it was like a series of other conversations I would have with friends and like other things, very separate, all separate from each other, where I would say something and they'd be like, I don't really get that. And I'll just be like, dang, I might be misunderstood. Like I might really just have to, do I have to explain it a different way? Do I have to? So I was like, I'm gonna just rap. I'm gonna just rap and see what happens. So it started with Misunderstood. That was the song on there. Produced by Go Hayes. Go Hayes had,
I should have known that was a Ghostface
man,
beat.
oh my gosh. When I tell you, if there's any way I can get him to produce at least one song for all my projects for the rest of my life, the intro. If he can produce the intro to all my songs, he produced Misunderstood. He made a beat on Twitter. He does these like Instagram too. He does them, but like I scroll through Twitter at least two or three times a week. I see his videos come up where he's like making beats, and I commented. I was like, love this. Like this is one I've never seen miss really, but like this is one of them ones that I had a session with Ro, like a week after, and I was like, did you see this beat that Go Hayes made? He was like, yeah, that one's fire. I was like, yeah, it is. I need that. I got to figure out how to, you know what I'm saying? And I only rapped on one Go Hayes song that I bought off his beat store like a minute ago, a song called Preface Flows. Um, Great writing, if I do say so myself. And Ro was like, I'll text him. And I was like, what you? He's like, I'll text him. If it's open, I'll make sure you get it. And I was like, oh, okay, but he's like, you got to rap though, and I was like, deal, okay, fine, I'll do it, let's go. And so I don't even think 48 hours passed. I had that beat. And I was like, what? Who are you?
I feel like we skipped over this, and I think that it's really important to who you are, because when you do meet somebody, you specifically, you are a very quiet person in the way that you carry yourself. Though, like, man, I don't know how I describe you, but you you're like a gentle giant. And what I want to touch on is the fact that you've been taught that you have to be like that. How much of your identity do you think has been tied to that?
I see the way my like dad and his dad move. And those are like two of my favorite people on earth. Um, and like they're my granddad's a professor, a pastor, right? So in the both in the speaking field, you know what I mean? And even he's like very, very chill guy. Also 6'4", 300. You know what I mean? Like big feet,
So
big
you'll be
guy.
300 when you get older?
Hey,
When you become
hey,
old?
hey, hey, when I'm moving, for hopefully not. I think I just ate once today. So, I'm doing all right. But I gotta stay in that gymnasium. That's what it is. I got to stay in that gymnasium. But I think both, having both of them talk to me, um, and just keep me super mindful of how I move and how I present myself to people, because that would that will kind of determine what happens next. Um, so first impressions are everything, right? Also, even being like in the music industry, right, and being like in places like YCA, um, I was always even like reinforced. People like Britain A, and shout out to Britain A and to Rage, but people like that and to Heather, um, would always keep me mindful of how much space I take up when I walk into a room. Um, being what I'm saying, being an artist, taking up space. When you the way you dress, when you appear to people, like that takes up space. Being a male takes up space. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a being a male with a platform like takes up space. And so whenever when you walk into a room, I'm always like, okay, let me just see what's going on first before I go in and start talking. Hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be like showing out, but I also want to make sure that I find my spot. I'm a really good like role. I can be a star player when I need to be, but I'm a really good role player. So when I'm walking into any room and I just know like where I'm fitting in the space and where I can sit, um, it always just helps me navigate the spaces I'm in better. It helps me kind of like moderate the relationships I hold people and how I hold conversation.
Do you feel like that being ingrained into you growing up, making that a part of your identity, contributed to the fact that you were misunderstood?
I think because I'm not going out of my way to be heard or to be like understood, or to like force a point or to drive some home consistently, it does lead to me being misunderstood, and just kind of like, I don't know, I can be read wrong sometime. I'm going to be a little bit more okay with that as I get older. But it definitely can lead to that because I'm not like walking in with a point to prove or a stance to like stand on. Um, and I'm not loud. And I think sometimes that can lead to like a form of misunderstanding for sure.
And it's even hard as you get older, right? Because you feel misunderstood in the fact that the way my life is moving, it's not like anybody else's. going back to what you told me in feeling okay with being on your timing, you have to be okay with watching other people move on to certain things in life that you haven't reached yet. And that's not just you, that's everybody. And especially if you're like us who took the college route, who took the going to school route, you are told growing up, follow this path and you will have a secure, stable life. And in today's world and economy, that's not looking like a surefire thing, right? Because the market crashes in 2008 and the people who didn't have degrees are losing their jobs to the people that have the degrees. Nowadays, everybody got a degree. So that's not even, a guarantee that, hey, you will find employment. In the song Hopin, you say all these problems coming in, can I just be young again? These the days I wish I played the part.
I heard that song all the time. I think, yeah, so that's true to this day.
So what was the part that you wish you had played?
I wish I played the full part of being a young person. I think I was young. I wasn't doing like adult grown stuff when I was young, but I was definitely in a rush for sure. And I wish I was one of them kids that just was okay with being young until I wasn't. You know what I mean? I wish I was okay with being a kid and just like not striving so hard for being older and I can't wait till I turn 18 so I can move and you know what I mean? Like, what? Nah, yeah, I wish I was a kid still. I wish I was a kid that like played the part of being a kid through and through.
Why was it you rushed?
I wanted more. I wanted more freedom. I wanted more um everything. I think just the things I wanted I didn't have access to. I was broke, you know what I mean? Like like I just wanted to be able to have more time to do my own thing. You know, when you're kids, you want everybody's schedule. You want everybody's schedule. You know what I'm saying? When you not on your mom's schedule, she sending you to grandma's house and you're on grandma's schedule. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, damn, I want to do my own thing. Like, I gotta come in at, you know, 5:30, 6 o'clock when the street lights come on. But that's when all the hoopers come. So like, you know what I mean? So now I gotta go back, I gotta leave outside and come back to the crib where ain't nobody in here hooping, man. Like I'm the best hooper in this crib.
That's when all
man.
the hoopers come.
Yeah, bro. And I'm like, dang. So I think that's just more what I wanted. And I should have just been okay with being a kid.
So then why was it you mentioned to me that you feel like you need to be okay with being on your time?
I realized when I first started making music, and I told my homies I want to rap. Shout out to the trap. Told my homies I want to rap, and or that I was trying to like make it a thing for it because I was already rapping. I was already freestyling at tables and like doing all that. But they were like, drop a single. Like let's hear something. Like you got to record something. You got to record that. You got to record that. And I was like, yeah, okay. Other than that, wasn't nobody rushing me to record not a single thing. That was a great time. I reminisce about that often. And now I feel like every 2 weeks, it's almost like a paycheck. There's somebody that's like, hey, can't wait for no music. Can't wait. Now, I could drop something today on April 15th at 10:13 and on April 16th at 10:13. So I'm like, hey, bro.
Need more?
We need more. Ooh,
that's a good problem to have.
And it's a great problem to have, right? Because the demand is high. But I have to make sure that as thirsty as I am, man, if I could drop a mixtape every week, I would. That's the type of like hunger I have for this game. I love the game, man.
So then how has the societal pressure impacted you mentally?
That's the thing is I can rush because people are asking for it and I can get hyped because people are asking for it. But I don't want to mess anything up. I drop something too soon and it's not finished. And now I have that's on my discography. Like that's something 10 years now, you can go back and look. He shouldn't have dropped that at that time. Like, it wasn't done. It wasn't good. It was not like, one of my worst fears is dropping something today and somebody goes, remember the director's cut? We missed that. Like, what? You telling me in 5 years, I haven't gotten better? Like, I have dropped worse music than 5 years? That's a nightmare of mine. And we all know an artist like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like, dang, we'd rather 5 years ago third, then this third, dropping this. And because I rushed, because I had one too many DMs that was asking me to drop something. So I want to please the people and drop something. I love y'all, but like not so much where I'm rushing my work and dropping low quality work. I know what I'm worth now. I've set a bar in these last 3 or 4 EPs. I've set a bar. These singles, I've set a bar for my level of quality. And now the goal is to be so surgical and so like intentional that I don't drop an inch below that bar, but everything is just going up. So it's like I gotta stay on my own type of time. I can't work on other people's time. You know what I'm saying? Just because you it's a Saturday and you don't got nothing to do at the crib but listen to music and you don't got nothing from me past 2024, don't mean I gotta drop something right now. You go run that old stuff back and watch at the end of 2025, I might have something great for you. You know what I mean? You know how long we waited for that Saba project? Like, you know what I mean? Like that these type of projects I'm grateful for because I know exactly when he started. And I know that this is a time. And I know if I'm getting the type of pressure to drop music, little old me with my little old platform, Jesus Christ, the pressure on him to like make this happen was even higher. And he took his time. And it's great because he took his time.
At what point did you let go of societal expectations?
2019.
Why?
I realized nobody is going to, and I should have recognized this earlier. My mom always said this. She'd be like, she's gonna watch this and she's gonna be like, oh, I've been telling you that for years and you just now learned. I hear you. Nobody is going to live with the consequences I make. I was just telling somebody this yesterday. If I'm trying to get from point A to point B, right? And I need to get there. Nobody's going to suffer the consequences but me of how I get there. So if I decide to jump, I have to live with the injuries that I incur when I jump, if there are any, right? If I don't and I miss out on everything that's on the other side, nobody misses out but me. I'm always careful when I give people advice because at the end of the day, I can give you advice. It'd be like, oh, these people come to me, oh, this person made me mad, da da da. And I could easily be like, oh, just go knock them out. And then I'm gonna go have me a day. I'm gonna go have me a day.
You're
I'm
gonna end
grab
up
me
in jail
and they're gonna be suffer whatever consequence they're gonna, you know what I'm saying, lose or win and go to, you know what I'm saying? Like those consequences are on them. And nobody's gonna come and arrest me like, hey, you gave them the advice. So now you gotta come with us. Like, what? No, yeah. So whenever I'm like realizing that, like people tell me, oh, you should rush and do this, or you should do this, or this is happening, so you gotta do this right now. And I'm thinking like, if I sign this right now, there is nobody who's been gassing me up to sign this that's gonna owe somebody later on a back end except me. If I drop this right now and it flops, not only will nobody have a flop record but me, but also those people who gassed you who would drop it at that time are gonna be like, dang, bro, like, why does John flop? You know what I mean? Like, man, he fell off. You know what I mean? Like, so it's you gotta work on your own time. Even more so, what I really meant when I said that was like the other artists. We were talking about how everybody's on their own track. Bro, you have well, you might, but it's very few people have the concept of like looking over and seeing somebody like get a deal, right? Or no matter how good or bad it is, just, you know, getting a deal is a deal, right? But seeing over and seeing that happen for somebody that you grew up with, that you was at NU Media with, you know what I mean? Like early days, riding and grinding with, like seeing them get brand deals that you've been cooking for a minute, and then having to turn back to your desk and being like, this is still good. You know what I mean? Like, it's so difficult to do. And it's like, it's so easy to see, you know what I'm saying? Like my homies, my peers, I'm so happy for them. Like, I'm happy more than anything. And seeing them like get things, I'll be like, ah. That probably make me want to rush more than the people in my DMs. Cause I'm like, oh, I need to hustle harder than I'm hustling now. That's why I didn't get it. That's the first thing that goes in my head. I didn't get it because I wasn't hustling hard enough. And really, it's just their time.
My bad. I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Is like I want to be the best at what I'm doing just as much as anybody else, right? So when you look around and you look at everybody else doing well, you're like, damn, like why am I not getting that? Why can't that be me? If I'm as good as I think I am, if I'm as good as everybody else tells me I am, why am I not in that position? And sometimes, right, it's their time and it's not yours, but also it's are you really putting yourself in the position to be there? Because just because you think that you're doing everything that you need to do, are you really doing everything that you need to do? Something that we talked about with Fem is, he says, what song is it? I forgot what song it is, but he's talking about, how can you how can I be mad at God when I say that I want this, but I'm not putting in the work that I know I need to? Why do I think I deserve this if I'm only doing half as much as I'm supposed to be doing? How can I expect more when I'm asking for so little? And it's true. How can I expect all of this to happen for me when I'm literally just doing the bare minimum? And because the bare minimum has worked for so long, it doesn't mean that it's going to take me to new heights. Because I'm where I am right now, I'm not happy with where I am right now. So why am I not doing more?
It's very real. There also we have to recognize, aside from that, there are so many other things that go into people's come ups. There was one time I'm like, yo, I need to be in the studio more. I need to figure out how to, da da da. And I looked over one of my peers, he's in that studio every week, it seemed like every week, couple times a week, he's in there just dropping stuff one after the other. And I'm just like, how's he doing this? And then so we got close over time, and I was like, yo, G, like, there was one point you were like grinding it out. He was like, yeah, I was in the red doing that. What? Excuse me? He was like, I was in debt. Like I was running it up to get this work done, but I needed to do that because you know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, okay. So one thing I'm not willing to do
Just put
is
myself in
go put myself in the
that.
red for I said, nah, yeah, I'm good. You right? You got it. You definitely got that. And that's just the stuff I know about, right? Like I there's many a time where I'm looking over, I'm like, they're doing really great things. And is that a brand deal? What is that about? And it's not till later I find out, like from their manager. They're like, oh no, that was like our sixth attempt. We've been on this since 2018. It's 2024, 2025. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, oh, so that's one of them times where it just takes time. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, that's what it is. I just need time. Everybody wins in a different way. And I did not realize this truly until I don't know how this person keeps coming up in my stories, but he's just one of them ones, bro. Yes, we're grabbing food. We went to Harold's. We went out to eat. We went to Harold's
And y'all stay going to eat.
on Wabash. That was the first time I've ever known Harold's on Wabash. He hit me. I was like, Wabash. There's a Harold's on Wabash. I went in there. So we're sitting up in his booth. First of all, Harold's in the booth is insane. Those are two totally different things. But we're sitting up and he's talking to me, and I had just locked in a set at Pitchfork 2019. And I was like just updating him on life and everything. He was like, yo.
Was that the one that got rained out?
And it had to be 2018. Yeah, it was 2018. But he's like, I told him, he's like, yeah, but I'm about to be on set in like a week, 2 weeks, Pitchfork. He was like, Pitchfork? Nigga? Like, I don't know how old I was at the time, but he's like, yo, you're at Pitchfork at your age? Like, that's crazy. Mind you, he'd already locked in a Toyota brand deal for Camry music. And he said, bro, I haven't done Pitchfork. Pitchfork is great. He was like gassing it. And I'm like, bro, you're happy for me because I got a Pitchfork stage. You have a brand deal with Toyota. Like, We could trade right now if you want to. What are we talking about? But like everybody wins in a different way. I had people who hit me, like people who I like did poetry with and like wrote with in high school and competed with, and they're like, "Yo, you got like pitchfork, da, 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 like I'm gonna come see you." And they're like, "Yo, I can't believe like you made it." Some people like went off to school and like stopped doing poetry, so now and they're like, "Bro, you kept at this, and now you're on stage, da da da." And it's like a sea of white people. It's like 800 to 1,000 white people I'm like performing in front of, and they're like, "Bro, it's so crazy, like da da da." I'm like, "Bro, I took the train here. I took the train to my set at Pitchfork. You drove to come see me. You know what I mean? Like everybody wins in a different fashion. You can't really like meter it for anybody. Everybody's is different. And so that's when I learned. I was like, you know what, G? It's about timing. Definitely gotta put the work in. And like when it's supposed to happen, it's gonna happen. I trust it.
At this point, what is it you expect of yourself?
I want my work to speak for the people that's supposed to speak for. I want to be cemented as the best writer in my city because I believe I am. Um, I like the idea of this album that I'm working on. Is a storytelling album. It's got a lot going into it, and I expect it to be like a one of them like Rushmore moments for the city. Uh, and I think it's one of them things that I have to really put a lot of work into. And have been putting work into. But I do want to be the best. I want to be the best, and I also want to make sure that I'm using all the tools I'm getting now to like pull up people who I believe in.
What's the title of the album?
Southside Sonnet is the title of the album. Title of the album is Southside Sonnet.
Why the Southside Sonnet?
I chose Southside Sonnet because I knew that my first album was going to be an identity piece for sure. I knew that it was as many EPs as I've dropped. All these EPs were practice, right? These are all scrimmages. As great as they're all like getting ready for this moment. And it's about my coming up on the south side of Chicago, all the things I learned and kind of like what made me who I am today. Um it's about like the little house I grew up in. Um it's about just kind of like all the parts, all the lessons I learned, the fights I got into, uh hoping like all the things that kind of church, like all the things that kind of made me who I
That's
am.
West Side. Oh wait, my bad.
Church is West Side for sure. But
He
like
meant literal church.
yeah. But like all the kind of the parts and elements that kind of made me like who I am as a person, as an artist. Um, and so it's a storytelling album. And so Southside Sonnet is also an ode to uh, the South Side, the community I grew up in. And for those who don't know, like an ode is like a thank you letter or a thank you piece in praise of something or someone.
Man, shout out you. I'm excited to hear it. You got anything you want to plug, bro?
Sincerely dropped in February. I'm saying it's a 3-piece EP with some really good music in it. So stream Sincerely everywhere. Um, I'm I'm gonna make my claim as the best rapping hooper in the city. We can talk about writers and like rapping in the city for sure. I think but hooping, when it comes to hooping, I think I'm the best rapper.
Make sure you go ahead check out the third. Make sure you go ahead like, comment, and subscribe. Sad Boys for real. Peace out.
This is Sad Boy Radio.